I always thought summer was supposed to be the season of freedom. Long days, warm nights, campfires with friends, road trips, and lazy afternoons that stretched endlessly. But this past summer, it became something else entirely. Something I still can't explain. Something I can't forget, no matter how hard I try. It started in late June, when my two closest friends, Ryan and Emily, and I decided to take a small trip out of town. We weren't looking for anything fancy, just a place to get away from the noise of our lives. Ryan had just finished his first year at college. Emily was stressed from work, and I just needed to breathe. Ryan suggested we go to his uncle's old cabin near Lake Marrow. He described it as rustic but peaceful, tucked deep in the woods, about 2 miles away from the nearest town. He said his uncle hadn't used it in years, but it still had electricity and running water. Looking back now, I wish we'd just booked a hotel. Arrival. We got there in the late afternoon, sunlight dripping gold over the trees, the lake reflecting the sky like glass. At first it was perfect. The cabin was small but cozy, with a creaky wooden porch and a stone fire pit out front. But the first thing I noticed when we stepped inside was the smell. It was faint, like damp earth mixed with something metallic. Old wood and mold, I thought. Ryan brushed it off immediately. "Place just needs some air," he said, pushing open the dusty windows. That night, after we unpacked, we sat out by the fire pit, roasting marshmallows, laughing, drinking cheap beer. The woods around us were thick and dark, but we didn't care. It felt like summer should feel. It wasn't until I went to grab more drinks from the cabin that I felt something was off. Inside, the air was heavier. The faint metallic smell was stronger. As I passed the hallway, I thought I saw movement in the corner of my eye, a shadow shifting across the far wall, like someone had just slipped out of sight. "Ryan?" I called out, thinking maybe he'd come inside. No answer. When I stepped forward to check, I realized something strange. The hallway was lined with mirrors. Tall, old-fashioned ones, framed in dark wood, like they'd been collected from different places and set there deliberately. But the thing is, Ryan never mentioned the mirrors. The first night. That night, none of us slept well. I heard creaking outside the cabin, like footsteps circling. At around 3 a.m., I woke up to Emily sitting up in her bed across the room. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. I nodded. The sound was unmistakable. Slow, deliberate steps across the porch, then down the side of the cabin. Ryan muttered something about raccoons and went back to sleep, but I wasn't convinced. When I finally drifted off, I dreamed of mirrors, the hallway mirrors. But in my dream, my reflection didn't move the same way I did. It smiled when I didn't. It leaned closer, watching me, its lips moving like it was whispering something I couldn't hear. When I woke up, the sun was already up, but I felt drained, like I hadn't slept at all. The discovery. On the second day, we went swimming in the lake. The water was freezing, but it felt good in the heat. For a while, everything was normal again. Sunlight, laughter, splashing. Then Emily pointed at something floating near the far edge of the lake. At first, I thought it was driftwood, but as it bobbed closer, I saw pale skin, tangled hair, a shape of a face, eyes clouded and lifeless. "Jesus Christ!" Ryan gasped. We swam to shore as fast as we could, and Ryan called the local sheriff. When they arrived, they pulled the body out. It was a woman, maybe in her 30s, bloated and pale, her face barely recognizable. The sheriff asked us questions, but we didn't have any answers. He seemed unsettled, though, like he already knew something. After they left, the atmosphere shifted completely. We didn't laugh anymore, we didn't swim. That night, the mirrors in the hallway seemed darker, heavier, and the footsteps returned. The second night. This time, it wasn't just steps. At around midnight, I woke up to a faint tapping sound. Not outside, inside. Tap, tap, tap. It was coming from the hallway. I got up, heart pounding, and crept toward it. The hallway was pitch black, except for the moonlight filtering through the window. I could see the mirrors faintly glinting. That's when I saw it. In the second mirror, my reflection wasn't standing still. It was moving. Its hand was pressed against the glass, tapping. I froze. My real hand wasn't raised, but the reflection kept tapping, its eyes fixed on me. And then, God, I'll never forget this, its mouth opened wide, far wider than humanly possible, stretching into a grotesque scream, but no sound came out. I stumbled back, crashing into a chair, waking Ryan and Emily. When I told them what I saw, they thought I was just freaked out because of the body. But I knew what I saw. The third day, we decided to leave. But when Ryan went to start the car, it wouldn't turn over. Dead battery. "There's a town just 2 miles away," he said. "We can walk." But Emily wasn't having it. Not through those woods, not after everything. So we stayed one more night. That evening, I noticed something scratched into the wood frame of one of the mirrors in the hallway. I swear it hadn't been there before. It said, "She waits in the water." The final night. That night was the worst. Around 2 a.m., Emily shook me awake. "Shh, listen," she whispered. I held my breath. At first, I only heard silence. Then, faintly from the hallway, whispering, dozens of voices, overlapping, murmuring words I couldn't understand. We crept out of bed, and Ryan joined us. We stood frozen at the entrance of the hallway. The mirrors were alive. I don't know how else to describe it. The reflections inside them were moving. Shapes, shadows, pale faces pressing against the glass. One by one, they turned their heads toward us. Emily screamed. Suddenly, all the mirrors cracked at once, a sound like gunshots echoing through the cabin. Then, everything went dark. I don't remember much after that. Just flashes, running through the woods in the dark, branches tearing at my skin, Ryan shouting, Emily sobbing. When I came to, it was morning. We were on the side of the road, dirt and blood on our clothes. Ryan was lying there, unconscious but breathing. Emily was gone. The police found us a few hours later. They searched the cabin, but according to them, there were no mirrors in the hallway. Not one. And they never found Emily. Aftermath. It's been months since that summer. Ryan refuses to talk about it. He tells everyone Emily just ran off, that she couldn't handle what happened at the lake. But I know the truth. Sometimes late at night, when I'm too tired to fight sleep, I see her, not in my dreams, in the mirror, standing behind me, dripping water, whispering words I can't understand. And sometimes I hear the tapping. Tap, tap, tap. She's still waiting.